I'm going to show you how to make REST API calls to Aria automation. Let's get started.
Hi everyone, I'm Watrous from VVork. If this is your first time here and you want to learn about automating, programming, and monitoring in VMware environments, you're in the right place.
This is part 9 in a 10-part video series in which we're exploring how to make REST API calls. In parts 1 through 8, we took a generic look at how to make REST API calls. But now, in parts 9 and onwards, we're going to take a look at specific VMware products. In part 9, we're going to be taking a look at how to make REST API calls to VMware Aria automation. As you'll recall, in the 2 previous videos, we took a look at how to look up which versions of the VRA API our VRA server supports, and additionally, we saw how to authenticate. When we did so, you'll recall that we set up various variables such as VRA API version, API token, and access token. But you'll notice right now that these variables have no value set. Now, the reason why there's no value set is because I erased them. The reason why I erased them is I would like to show you a trick. This is not a VRA trick, this is a Postman trick, but it'll come in handy as we continue to work with the VRA REST API. So let's go over to collections, and you'll recall that we had defined several different REST requests. For example, in this About folder, we have 2 REST requests that get us information about the versions of the REST APIs that are supported by our VRA server. And in the authentication folder, we have these 2 requests that will allow us to authenticate to our VRA server. Now, here's the trick. If you right-click a folder, or for that matter, if you right-click a collection, you can choose to run everything in that folder. So if I choose Run Folder, it tells us here on this screen that these are the 2 REST requests that it's about to run. Obviously, if you check or uncheck the checkboxes, you're indicating whether you want to run each of these requests. You can say whether you want to manually run it, schedule it. You can say how many iterations and so forth. For our purposes here, we're just going to simply click on the Run button. And notice when we click on that Run button, it gives us information about the run. So it tells us first that it ran this request and returned a 200. It ran this request and it also returned a 200. Now, as a quick little sanity check here, if we go over to our VVork environment where we've got all these variables defined, you'll notice that we now have the value of our VRA API version variable set. So we've run these 2 requests to completion, and now we're set up so that all of our subsequent requests can use this variable. Incidentally, in this particular case, we didn't actually need to run get API info. If all we wanted to do is get the latest API version, we could have just run this. We have also the need to authenticate. So let's use the same trick again. We'll right-click our authentication folder. We'll choose to run everything in that folder. And again, I'm going to jump straight to the Run button. Once again, I'm going to double check that I get back a 200 code from each of those operations, which in this case I did. And again, if we do a quick sanity check, we can see that I have my API token set successfully and my access token is successfully set. Now again, this is not a VRA specific trick that we just did. This is a trick that you can use in Postman in general. And we're going to use this trick from this video onwards to quickly get our version number and our authentication set up properly. In the next video, we're going to be taking a look at how to look up your organization ID. Join me in the next video and we'll continue looking at the Aria Automation API.